I just watched a video on YouTube called Intermittent Water Drinking. This has got to be, and I watched it and what a waste of my time. This has got to be one of the dumbest things. I'm starting to think that some YouTubers are just inventing crap in order to just make videos and make science out of it. The guy put a link in his description to say there's research, but you have to look at these links. This is called Intermittent Drinking, Oxytocin and Human Health, and it's talking about water holes and how, I'll read it to you here. It is surprising that so many animals share the same space without visible signs of anxiety or aggression. Although water holes are preferred feeding locations of large carnivores, and they're talking about elephants and things like that, they're also shared by all types of herbivores of all sizes and shape, including elephants. Okay. The study is really not even on humans. It's on large animals. And then they talk about our hypothesis is regulating drinking behavior through intermittent bulk drinking could increase oxytocin, recover human trust. Oh boy, we want human trust. And increase health by downregulating of stress axis activity and inflammatory activity of the immune system. So I actually read this and I watched the entire video, and I'm going to give you my opinion. This is stupid. I made some notes. The theory that this guy is talking about is if you just wait until you're thirsty to drink, which seems reasonable. I mean, it makes sense. If you're thirsty, get some water, drink it. But if you wait until you're thirsty, it'll stimulate oxytocin, and that this is the love hormone. And he says the problem is if you're not intermittently water drinking, meaning that if you're drinking a little bit of water throughout the day and you drink it before you get thirsty, here's a list of what he says will happen. By drinking too much water, you will increase stress. You will decrease sodium. It'll flush out all your electrolytes. It'll stress the sympathetic nervous system. It'll elevate adrenaline, and you'll get leg cramps from drinking too much water. If you're drinking so much water that you're drowning, then one could argue that you do have more stress because you're drowning. There's a condition where people drink way too much water, but I'm going to tell you, you have to force feed yourself to drink so much water that that condition does occur. This condition that he's talking about does occasionally happen in athletes who are drinking so much water but are depleting electrolytes. So in other words, they're not eating or drinking anything that has sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, that type of thing. They're in a high heat environment, and all they're doing is slamming the water. That is a rare condition. That sport is called the Man Triathlon. And when the Man Triathlon got started, like in the late 70s and 80s, people thought that drinking more water was good because they were thirsty. It happened on the island, one of the islands in Hawaii. It's a lava field. That really doesn't happen that often anymore. And the reason why is because of our knowledge about replacing electrolytes. So this whole idea, I understand intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is wonderful for some people because it helps reduce the amount of calories that you're putting into your body, and it gives your pancreas a rest. So your pancreas isn't secreting insulin all day long from the moment you get up in the morning to the moment you go to bed at night. So intermittent fasting, which basically for most people means don't put food in your mouth all day long. Stop eating breakfast. Reduce the amount of calories that you eat. Seems reasonable if you're overweight, diabetic, and you need to lose more than 20 pounds. There's a lot of people like that. Then there's this idea that you should not drink any water during the day, which is called dry fasting. But one of the misnomers about that is the people that are doing what's called dry fasting, usually they're drinking all night long. I do dry fasting when I go to bed at night and then I wake up the next morning. During the nighttime, I didn't drink any water. In other words, I could call that dry fasting. Now he's talking about you have to wait until you're thirsty. So let me tell you why this is a bad idea. Number one, as we get older, our brain doesn't sense when you're thirsty as much. And so many people become dehydrated chronically. Chronic dehydration is a terrible problem. How do you know you're chronically dehydrated? Instead of going to the doctor and doing a complete blood count, just test it through the urine. If your urine is a dark yellow, as long as you're not taking B vitamins, then you're very likely chronically dehydrated. The urine should be a light yellow. But if you're drinking so much water that your urine is totally clear, then you're drinking too much. It's the Goldilocks philosophy of hydration. Don't drink too little, don't drink too much. It's not rocket science. The second thing is, for athletes, if you wait until you're thirsty because you are performing an athletic event or working out, you are going to become dehydrated and it will affect your athletic performance. They will drink periodically throughout their event so that they prevent their blood plasma from getting low, their blood gets thick, the heart has to work harder, and thus performance goes down. So drinking while exercising or drinking enough during an athletic event, particularly an endurance event like rowing, swimming, cycling, you don't ever wait until you're thirsty. If you're thirsty during the event, you're already behind the 8 ball. I don't get why this type of crap is so popular. Intermittent water drinking. This is the title of my video. This is the title of the other video. To me, it just feels like we've ran out of ideas and we're just trying to invent stuff to talk about. Maybe I'm guilty of the same thing. You run out of ideas. So I'm gonna put the link that this guy used in my link down below so that you can watch this or read it. And it's from 2016. So it's like people are just going through the internet looking for some random research and then extrapolating it to be some new age YouTube video. No, don't do this. This is just silly, if not stupid.